Okay, what's up to everybody on YouTube and Facebook and also LinkedIn? Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. How are you? Welcome, welcome. I think you guys are just starting to get this live. And what's up to Instagram? How are you guys? It is episode 14. They just tell me what to say. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Episode 14 of the 20-minute showdown, and super excited to have our guest today because he is a top team leader in the real estate industry, but way more important than that, this guy is a phenomenal orator, speaker, teacher, and trainer to everyone in the real estate industry. I forgot to push live on the Instagram. Now I push live on the Instagram. Okay, so sorry about that, Gabe. It is indeed not my first time, even though it would look like it. Welcome to Facebook. Go ahead and sound off. Welcome to LinkedIn. Welcome to YouTube. Tell us where you're logging in from. Or if you're watching the replay, hit replay. What's up? I see you. What's up, Ryan Higgins? How are you? What's up, Thomas Abrams? I see you. How you doing, Trey? Good to see you, brother. We got a great guest today for episode 14 of the 20-minute showdown. 3 questions, 2 people, bang, 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 top performers, top producers in the respective industries. We got Utah joining us. Welcome, Utah. Welcome, Phoebe. Welcome, Chris. Good to see y'all. Welcome, who's that? Jose. Welcome, Jose. How are you? And we're going to be having a great guest from San Diego, California on us today. Welcome, Chris. Orange County in the house. What's up, OC? Glad to have you guys. Episode 14, 20-minute showdown. 2 superstars, 2 different industries, 3 questions back and forth. Let's see what you can take from it. Got him on right now. Let's view his request. We're going live. Look at us. We know technology. This man taught me, actually, our guest today. Our guest today is the guy who taught me how to use Facebook Live and Instagram Live. What's up, Paulo? How are you? Good to have you on, buddy. And looks like we've got our guest today. What's up, Gabe? How are you, buddy?
Nick, what's happening, man? Is it good morning for you over there? I think we have a couple of minutes.
Good morning for 5 more minutes. So I'm glad to have you. Oh, Elena. What's up, Elena? She's logged in from the other side of the world, I think like Estonia or something. Welcome, Estonia, in the house. So, guys, if you're just logging in, this is 2 people that are top producers in their different industries. They're going to share some of their different tips and hacks. But it's 3 questions. We don't know what the questions are. I don't know what he's asking me. He don't know what I'm asking him. And this is live on Facebook. It's live on Instagram. It's live on YouTube. It's live on LinkedIn. We live. What's up, Tyra? How are you? Glad to have you. So if you're watching replay, just hit replay. Right now, what I'd like you guys all to do is just share this like crazy. Share it to your stories. Send it in the DMs of your friends. Share it to your wall, depending what platform you're on. And just get some more people on here, because we're going to get cranking. What's up, Adam? What's up, Homes by Jasmine? Jasmine's in the house. I believe that's Gabe. That's one of yours. Glad to have you, Brock. How are you? So we're live on every platform, and we're going to get started. My guest today is none other than Gabe Mendez. I had a chance to meet Gabe Mendez 10 years ago, and we had a chance to have an interaction in a company that I was building. He crushed San Diego for us and made a shift into the real estate industry. And man, did this guy grow into a phenomenal leader, recruiter, human being, man, father. And he's going to tell you a lot more about his story. And his niche actually is, how to be a dominant force in your industry through social media marketing and other strategies of digital. And I want him to share his quick story real quick. So Gabe, thank you so much for joining us. I know it's early out there, but let me kick it to you, brother. Tell us your quick story.
What's going on, everybody? San Diego, born and raised, single mother. You got the background story, all that kind of stuff. Grew up, and one day just had a mental switch. Decided that I wanted to be the best version of myself. Ended up growing up, finding out what that was, getting in alignment with my vision. Got married, have 2 beautiful children, and excited to be in partnership with Nick. Nick, you said we met 10 years ago. I still remember seeing you on stage in St. Louis when you guys came out and did the whole charade and that whole act. That was my #1 favorite memory of you of all time. But here, man, San Diego native. A lot of people ask me about my green screen background. It's not a green screen. It's actually downtown San Diego. I love long walks on the beach. No, I'm kidding, man. Excited to be here, brother.
That's how we met, actually. He just loves long walks on the beach. Well, man, tell us about really quickly what you're doing in real estate for sure, because you're just killing it. I want everyone to get an understanding of who you are as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, so been blessed, man. I've been in the business now for 8 years on the sales side, 10 years in total. Started the first 2 years off on the administrative side. Um, was balancing two jobs at that time. Decided to go back to my job. Didn't work out. Went full time sales 8 years ago. Since then, we've been blessed. We've grown for 8 consecutive years, year over year. Our breakout year was 2020 in COVID. And everyone thought the market was going to crash. I ended up doing about 56 sides, which is really good in San Diego. 2021, I ended up doing over 100 sides, so 100% growth from 2020 to 21. That was my first year of actually doing a million GCI in real estate sales. So none of my other investments, none of my other things, just real estate sales, a million GCI. 2022, we did over 100 sides, over a million GCI. So it was last couple of years, man, have been really, really good for us. I built a sales team now. We're in 4 different counties and throughout Southern California, and launched a coaching program, and we're just crushing it right now in real estate, man. We're one of the biggest names in San Diego, which is one of the most popular metro cities in the entire country.
Great story, great share. And guys, for those of you that I haven't connected with, quick backstory: from Michigan originally, got introduced to the direct sales networking industry when I was 18, fell in love with it, made $1 million by 25. Company I was a part of went out of business, bought the assets, created a company called Visalis. We lasted 15 years. We're the creators of the Body by Body 90-day challenge. Over 3 million customers, 20 countries, 19 countries. We created 70 millionaires. We created challenge-based marketing. We're the owners of challenge.com, all that good stuff. So it was a great journey. 3 years ago, was able to merge the company and the assets into a bigger, more successful company. And that's where it lives now. And most recently, I launched a company called the Catalyst Group. It's a destination for top sales professionals. We pick industries that are high multiple. We do deals with mid-cap companies who blow out sales. And that's what kind of led me back into this relationship with Gabe and us reconnecting, because his, lens on, or not lens, but his leadership in real estate and my new lens on solar. We've been doing some different things together, which has been fun. So let's ask some questions. We got episode 14, 3 questions back and forth. I don't know what you're asking me. You don't know what I'm asking you. So I'm actually going to go back to one of the things you said earlier, which is it allowed me to segue into the question. You had mentioned that you made some serious decisions, and we've never gone deep into your story, but I've seen you post some pictures. I know you were on a path. I know, you made a serious, 180 to go a different direction. Where were you headed with your life as a young man? And what did that look like? And what could have that turned into? And what was the deciding moment or thing, or was it something that triggered you to go, hell with this, I'm going another direction? Over to you.
2008 was the year that seed got planted. Like, what the hell is going on with my life? I was 18 at that time. Little context: in high school, traditional guy, played sports, was going to go to community college, continue playing sports. Popular kid, did all the parties. I hosted a lot of parties down south in Mexico. So like Ensenada, TJ, I was like one of those club promoter, party promoter guys. So I was
Baby Rock. Rock. I know about Baby Rock.
Bro, what? Oh, that's right. You were in San Diego, man. I forgot about that.
I used to go across the border all the time at age 21. Baby Rock, man.
So, bro, I would be down there hosting like big parties and events. And so I was that guy throughout high school. So then when we graduated high school, all my friends ended up going to like state, Ivy League, and the 4-year colleges and crushing it in what they were doing. So about 21 years of age, I looked around, I'm like, dude, what am I doing, bro? Still promoting parties, still doing this stuff. Yeah. So I tried to find meaning in my life. And that was like the first time I'm like, dude, like, this isn't going anywhere. Nothing's going to happen. And around 24, that was just like where the crossroads met, bro. That's when I decided I'm tired of like trying to find my way. I'm in depression. I'm not doing anything with my life. I have a job. I need to do something else that's meaningful. And I went through a deep, deep depression at that time, bro. And I had to really pull myself out of it. That's when I found, no joke, dude, the Visalis Challenge. That was 2012. At that time when I found it. That's when the first book that one of my mentors in Visalis told me to read was Outwitting the Devil. I told him what I was going through.
Oh,
and he was like, dude, read Outwitting the Devil so that you can pull yourself out of what's going on. And I listened. He told me one thing. He said, look, believe everything I'm telling you is Bible truth. Just follow every step. If I tell you to jump, ask me how high. If I tell you to run, ask me how long. And as long as you do that, I promise you, I'll get you to where you want to go. So I said, fine, I've tried everything else. Let's do it. I read Outwitting the Devil, and that was like the difference that made the difference. And bro, that was like the catalyst that launched like the change.
Napoleon Hill, by the way, y'all, if you haven't read Outwitting the Devil, they never released the book until like, I don't know, 30 years after his death, maybe 40 years after his death. So Outwitting the Devil. Shout out Vanessa Jacobs. That's random that she's on here. She's the one that brought me to Baby Rock when, because she's Mexican and she took us across the border. She's the translator. Shout out Vanessa. She was our top female leader in our team when we were kids. Okay, but that's so hilarious that she's on right now. Okay. So I think I'm going to do a follow-up question here, and this doesn't count as question number 2. What can you advise to somebody who is the young you, or maybe not even the young you, the older you, somebody that's at that crossroads? What's that thing? Like, go. I don't want to lead the witness too much. Over to you.
It's the most obvious answer in the entire world, man. You got to find a mentor. You got to find a coach. You have to find someone. If you're in a situation where you're stuck, you're stagnant, you're feeling depressed, you're feeling down, you have to find someone who's been where you've been before. And if they have what you have gone where you want to go, and you trust their leadership, then just listen to everything they got to tell you 100% and just follow that step. That's the best advice that I can give all you. Find a mentor, find a coach. And there's a difference, by the way, man, Nick, there's a difference between the two.
There's a difference between the two. In fact, Growth Wednesday tomorrow, I'm speaking on the impact ladder. There's a difference between the two. All right, over to you. Your question.
All right, Nick. So my question I've always wanted to ask, man, is a big thing. You built a big company. You've had some emotional things impact you in your life. And I think that all of us as humans can relate to that. How did you deal with like some big emotional blows in your life, specifically your separation, when you were running a business, when you're out there traveling the world, you're writing, you're doing all your things. How does one deal with that at the level that you're at?
Okay, so when my separation hit, I did a 90-day challenge that I've since dubbed the Monk Challenge. And it was, I'll go diet first, because it was physical, mental, emotional, it was everything, right? But it was a huge shift in diet. No refined sugar, no fried food, no white flour, like the most extreme diet, no alcohol. I limited everything social. I poured myself into my body, and I had no physical interaction. So no physical interaction for 90 days with someone else or with myself. And I know this might be getting too out there, but I imagine you as an individual on the phone right now, that's for me, a very dominant alpha male. That's a really big thing. I then poured myself into, and you asked a specific question, which was my separation. I poured myself into writing poetry and just writing in general, and writing poetry. I wrote nearly 20,000 words of poetry in 120 days, which is the equivalent of a 100-page book. Every line filled of a 100-page book in normal font. Obviously, as you know, poems are not every line filled, right? So, I mean, I would imagine it's probably like a 300-page poetry book. I just dumped, and I had to fill that gap with as much of something. I was seeing my relationship advisor. What does that mean? You have a personal trainer, you have a financial advisor, you have a legal advisor, I have a relationship advisor, aka some would call it your family therapist or whatever. I just call it a relationship advisor because I just changed the context and the meaning. So, but I think number one, if I was to just bucket it down to one thing, is I poured myself into writing, and specifically into writing poetry. And you follow up to that.
Yeah. So I want to tell you what I heard. So what I heard you say is that you've mastered yourself, is what you did. You mastered yourself physically, then you mastered yourself emotionally. And then that kind of trickled that obviously affected you mentally, what you did, but you were able to shut everything off. And trust me, I'm an alpha male. I know what that's like. So be able to master yourself from that level, from everything you're putting in your body and doing with your body, bro, that's incredible. Like that's very,
it was, I had a higher purpose in doing so. And shout out to any boxer out there who's like, I'm just not going to do anything with myself or anyone else for months at a time. Shout out to boxing. I definitely won't be any boxing in my future. So super impressive.
Follow-up question to that, because a lot of us out there may not be able to go from one extreme to the other.
Yeah.
So a lot of us right now, especially in the real estate space, a lot of people that are having emotional blows to their business, mentally, they're kind of feeling it. What are some things right now that they can do that Nick did back then? Maybe not as extreme, but they can start putting them in the right direction and start shifting out of this like emotional state that they're in.
I think it's content. So it's we're always receiving content, whether you're doing it intentionally or not. If you're on social media, you're taking some. I'm gonna change the word from content to input. That's the wrong word. Input, right? What is the input that your ears and your eyes are exposed to every single day? And if the input is Netflix, if the input is the newspaper, do people read that anymore? The news button on your phone. I removed the news button from this phone. There's no news button. I don't give a shit about all the negativity you want to pour in. I remove. My kids hate me for this part. They hate this part about me. There's nothing to log into. There's no Netflix. There's no Amazon Prime. There's no channels. There's no TV. There's Disney. That's it. Sometimes I get desperate, and if it's late at night, I'll be on the Star Wars button inside of the Disney button. Thank God Disney bought Star Wars. I can watch something every once in a while, but now YouTube actually, now I think this through, YouTube actually becomes, the bane of somebody's existence, because then they'll default to there, just be watching a bunch of nonsense after nonsense, right? So it's input. Your input determines your output. So if you're constantly plugged into content that is average or below average, right? Average content, meaning jokes, stories, nothingness, below average, political, people battling dumb shit, negative news, all that stuff. How do you expect to overcome a difficult situation in your sales environment, your real estate environment, your economic environment? You got to be pouring intentionally, nonstop into your brain input that is in alignment with overcoming whatever it is that you're facing. So if you're just reading the reports of why the real estate industry is down percentage points and less houses sold and less this and less, that is going to absolutely determine your output. You got to go find all the stories of the people that are winning, adapting, overcoming, not just in your industry, but other industries, the people that have done it in the past. Last answer. If I get a little off track here, I immediately default to stories of adversity. I'll go watch a 10-minute story of somebody that overcame something just unbelievable. And I think one of the greatest stories ever in the history of mankind, that the history of America, and it's a shame that this person is not taught for a month straight in school, is Helen Keller. I'll tell you what I remember about Helen Keller growing up. People told jokes about, they used her name and had to do a joke about being deaf or blind. That was it. That's what I knew about her. And then a couple of years ago, I started researching. I saw a video on her. I was researching some content for Growth Wednesday, and a Napoleon Hill video led me to a Helen Keller video. This woman was not only deaf and blind and learned how to speak. This woman graduated from Harvard. How do you graduate from Harvard when you're deaf and blind? And she wrote 17 books and led the women's suffrage movement. And I could go on and on and on and on. What's your excuse? What's my excuse? Oh, the rates went up. She graduated from Harvard. Can't talk, can't hear. Couldn't speak, couldn't hear. Graduated from Harvard. Blind, deaf. Sorry, and blind. I forgot to say blind. Blind, deaf, couldn't speak. Overcame all of that. Harvard. 17 books. Led the women's suffrage movement. Oh, the interest rates went up. Oh, less people are hitting your lead site. So long answer. I apologize for that. You hit a hot button for me. So yeah, that's
all good, man. All right, round two.
All right, number two.
That's you.
Number two, and it's one of the things I really do truly admire and respect about you. How did finding the love of your life and having children, so it's a two-part question because I know those answers are a little bit different. How did those change you as a businessman? How did finding the love of your life and having children change you as a businessman?
Okay, really good question. So I'm going to give you a really long answer, as short as possible. But just so you guys know, my wife's name is Cherish, and she's the greatest joy that I have in my life. It's the biggest blessing in my life, over my children, over everything else. But back in 2015, 8 years ago, when I went full-time into sales, it was May of 2015, I went full-time into sales. August 2015, I met her in a parking lot. I gave her a flyer for an open house, and I instantly fell in love with her, man. She's blonde, blue eyes, like beautiful. She's Hispanic, speaks Spanish. I'm like, that girl is fine. But she didn't give me her number. I didn't hear from her. I gave her a flyer, and that was it. 7 days later, she sent me a text message saying, "Hey, I'm interested in you." I'm like, "Let's go. We're married now with 2 kids." But when I first met her, I had already a vision for my life. I had a purpose. That was when I went through the whole. I did really, really well at ViSalus. I was into personal development. I traveled. I spoke on stages, all the RSD events that we had, local events that we had, and I started to build myself up. And I transitioned to real estate full time. So I had a vision for myself, and I knew that at that point, this is gonna sound weird, Nick, but I have it in my goal book somewhere that in 2015, my goal for myself, the biggest vision that I had for myself was I wanted to become the most desirable man, period. I wanted to learn how to play the piano, hence why I got a piano back here. I wanted to learn how to sing and dance, which is why I taught myself how to sing and I took dancing lessons. I wanted to have a really nice body and be fit, which is why I went on this health trip and decided to get my body sub 15% body fat. I wanted to be intelligent, have conversations with anybody. Hence why I have a shelf full of books over here. So I had a big vision for myself. Wow. But here's the key thing, man. I met my wife 3 months after I had already started and already had this vision for myself. But when I brought her on board, she naturally completed this puzzle that I didn't know was incomplete. It gave me more purpose. It gave me more fire. It gave me more clarity. It gave me balance in what I needed to do. It didn't slow me down. I'm not saying it slowed me down. I'm not saying it held me back. I'm not saying I softened up. I'm still all in. And I still went hard and built some crazy team. Yeah. And we're doing really, really well. But she completed some puzzle that I didn't even know. And then after we got married and we took some marriage counseling classes together and how to become better wife and husband, I then was able to articulate into words that she is that missing piece. She was that omega to my alpha, that night and day, that second piece, that yin to my yang. And I'm like, damn, because of her, when I look back at everything, I was able to become that biggest vision of myself when I thought over here and not in a destructive way, in a very healthy way. So she was very instrumental when she did it. She'll tell you now with her own words that her calling in life, which I love my wife to death. She's the best gift that I have. Her calling in life, she was able to articulate to me 1.5 years ago during marriage counseling that, Gabe, I'm at peace letting you know that my calling in life is to support your calling. And I was like, bro, when my wife told me, honey, that my calling in life is to support your calling, it took this weight off my shoulder, bro. I put my cape on.
You can say that. You can say that.
I put my Superman cape on. My vision got way bigger. My avatar got way bigger. I'm like, let's go. Like, let's crush it. Let's take over. And because of that, I'm like, everything I do in life, I want to make an impact. I want to make sure that I leave a legacy, not just for my family, but for the people around me. I want to make sure I use my story to inspire other people. But then at the end of the day, I want my son to look up to someone and say, that's my Superman. I want my daughter to look up and say, I want a husband like that. I want my wife to be proud of who she has. So the impact that they had in the beginning, I didn't know how big it was going to be. But now when I look back at it, it was everything. It was the difference that made the difference in that journey. And so now, yeah, man, it's been cool, bro. So to answer the question.
You answered the question for the first part, which was your wife. And I thought you said something, which was I found my missing piece. And I did a little play on words. I think you found your missing piece, P-E-A-C-E, as opposed to P-I-E-C-E, like a puzzle piece. You found your missing piece, P-E-A-C-E. So I don't know if I stole that from somewhere, if I just made that up. I feel like I made it up. So what a beautiful love story. I knew the love story. So, and I get to see it every time I'm with you guys, and it's real and it's authentic. By the way, if drop some hearts, if you love that story that he just drop some hearts. Now shift me to kids. How did the kids change you as a businessman?
Oh man. So if my wife is my grounding wire and, electricity, then my kids are like my neutral. So that's like that's where it's like, it brings the children brought a level of joy to the life. It sweetened life up for me, where life was like a very delicious pie, but this was like the whipped cream and the cherry to have the kids. It sweetened it up, man. It added the sugar to it. I'm like, and now my heart is much bigger because of my kids. I love watching them grow. I make sure that I filter and I protect their mind and their heart, what they're watching, how they feel. I'm extremely intentional about the words and conversations that we have. Every evening, we're intentional about what they listen to. Every morning, we're intentional about what they listen to. We're extremely intentional about what they watch. My job is to like guard them and to build them into the type of human being that is going to leave an impact in the world and people around them, and also have good character, and et cetera, et cetera. So they were this sweetness to my life. And if it wasn't for them, I would still be that high D alpha personality type, which I am. But now I've tapped into that other side, that other ethos aspect of it, where now emotionally I'm grounded. And that's all the kids right there, man. They've been a huge impact.
Dude, I am so grateful to have my daughter first and not my son.
Yes.
Because, man, the level of patience that I developed from having my first child and it being a daughter was, she still is. She's just so beautiful. I love her so much. I never want to get mad at her. But Nicholas, I just want to strangle all the time. So if it was the other way around, if I would have had him first, I mean, God knew what he was doing by putting it in that order.
Yeah, dude, what? Because G is what? She's like 11 or something.
She's 10. Yeah, she's 10. Nicholas will be 7 at the end of next month.
So my daughter Haley's 10. We had her first, and same exact thing. She was like the little girl. I had to baby her. I couldn't play jiu-jitsu or fight with her. My son Elliot Sky, same thing, bro. I see him, man. I just want to slap him upside the head, get him on the floor. But dude, bro, last thing I'll say on kids is this.
Yeah, please.
Cool thing about having a son is whenever we get upset with each other, because it happens, we just say, let's go fight. And no joke, dude, we'll move all the furniture in the house and we'll start rolling and just start punching, slapping, and just start beating each other's asses, bro. It's the best thing in the entire world, bro. Like, all right, man, let's go fight. Dude, he's like, let's go fight. And we make it happen.
You know, I saw that you had him in jiu-jitsu, and it's like, I got to get Nicholas in jiu-jitsu, and probably Gia. Gia is so strong, she'll probably turn it around to Rousey. Her legs are just insane. But okay, next question. Hit me number 2.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about one big thing that no one really gets to see on your social platforms is investments. And I think it's important for people out there to start being more aware of like investing into just different aspects, not just like physical stuff, but financial. So, you know, what is one of the investments that's been most lucrative to you and maybe you wish would have done sooner or more of? One of the most impactful. So talking about the money, about the money.
So it's also I'm going to reference this as one of my mistakes as well. So I'm glad you're asking this question. If I could have turned back the clock, one of the mistakes I made is I didn't put enough money into real estate. I should have put way more money into real estate, buying land, buying buildings. I just didn't. And it's because A, I'm a sprinter, which doesn't bode well with real estate. I have a sprinter's mindset. And B is I was surrounded by business partners who were VCs, which is sprint and exit. And startup tech guys, right? So I had the mindset by 25 now of VC world startup tech guys. So where do you think I dumped all the money? Not enough into real estate, right? I dumped money into 18 different companies, of which only 1 or 2 ever got something out of it. The rest of them all bankrupted, right? Because that's what happens with a lot of different tech companies out there. So I would have put more money into real estate faster. And I recommend that to all of you. It's a slow game, but it is historically the smartest and the safest. And, it's if you're somebody that is like me, who's a sprinter, you got to build the discipline of doing that. On the flip side, though, if you can find the right horse to bet on, this is where I go the opposite direction. And by the way, I put a ton of money back into when our company got bought. The company that bought us defaulted. So they owed me personally $34.5 million left of what they hadn't paid me yet. And they never paid. It took us a couple of years to default and get the company back. But I ended up putting $8 million back into the company. So I was putting that money right back in, right? And that was, a function of keeping the doors open and keeping the dream alive for everybody. But if I can find a horse to bet on, that's a human. That's a human that's different than the vehicle. I bet on people less than I bet on the vehicle. And I ask people to do the same thing. So it's really interesting. We're talking about this. I'm in a capital raise right now. Literally right now, I'm raising capital from angel investors. And, regardless of the platform, I just tell people like, you're either betting on whether or not you think a guy who put, 700,000 people in 19 countries into a business and 3.5 million customers can go find 10,000 real estate agents to sign up to the platform for free and go recruit 70 salespeople to do the sales with those agents? If so, this is a $150 million acquisition in the next 4 years. Bet on me, right? So I say bet on people, but if you want to go the safe route, find Gabe, give him all your money, and tell him to get a bunch of real estate for you. So any follow-ups there?
Yeah. So what I'm gathering from the conversation, Nick, is it sounded like you're looking for of course you want the opportunity, but what's more important is the talent that's behind the opportunity. It's like
1,000%, 1,000%. Who is the talent?
Who is the talent? And the way that I'm translating that is for us as in whatever, regardless of whatever venture you're in, look at who's the most talented, get them enrolled into the vision, and bet on that person or those people or that set of people to launch the company and to build it.
Correct. So if you're going to invest in a company as a third party investor, then you want to. I invest in talent more than ideas. Just who's the person? Do I believe in this? Can they execute it? They executed before. But if the biggest mistake I ever made in investing is I didn't put way more money into real estate. I had one development. We did 70 homes. I made millions of dollars on it. I had a great back end residual on it as well from tax credits with the state. So I want to steer people that way. Or when you're diversifying and you want to bet on businesses or tech or whatever, find the horse and bet on the horse. Love
it, man. All right, back over to you, Nick.
Great question. Okay. I usually end with a similar question, but maybe we'll go 4 deep because, I want to hit your sweet spot. So this is your sweet spot. How important / top tip or 2 / anything else you want to say is it if you're going to be a solopreneur, a sales professional, or an entrepreneur? How critical is it to build a personal brand and master social or master digital?
Wow. Powerful question. I'm really glad that you asked this one. Personal brand is where it's at. It's just where it's at right now. This is why you see a lot of these big corporations, they started to adopt mascots in their company because they needed to have personality in their personal brand. So you might think people have been doing it for a while. This is why Michelin has the Michelin Man. Wendy's has that Wendy's person. Burger King has the King. You have all these large corporations that started to adopt this model because personal branding requires personality. And for a lot of you out there right now, they're not buying your logo. They're not buying the company. They're buying you and what you represent. And so having a personal brand in this day and age is almost everything for your business at the very beginning. If not almost, it is everything. I'll argue to say, because people are going to buy into your culture, your vision, who you are, the rules that you set, the standards that you set, what you represent. And that personal brand is what people have to say about you. It really is, in other words, better put, your reputation. It's your reputation advertised. That is, I just came up with that. I like that.
Stealing it. I've already posted it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, man. It's your reputation advertised is really what your personal brand is. So putting it out there on social, getting vocal about it, letting people know what you stand for, what you're all about. Those kind of things are really important. And that's the one thing that I push my team to do. I'm like, look, I have the foundation. I'm going to help you guys build your brand on top of mine, have access to the marketing team, have access to this, but let's build you, get your face on camera. And this way people can start to enroll yourselves in what you have to go. So it's everything, man.
Great answer. And I appreciate you sharing it because, it's crazy to me how many sales professionals are like, I just sell this thing right here. I don't need to build a personal brand. I'm like, but when I took about from what you just said, I can't believe I missed this. And I've been warned several times, especially in our past owning a supplement company, a wellness company, fitness company. Be careful aligning with people because if the people do something, it crashes the brand. I'm going to give you an example. There was a company called Juice Plus. And Juice Plus did this huge contract with a guy whose nickname was The Juice. And then that guy was up for murder. His name is O.J. Simpson. So his brand was the face of Juice Plus. The juice was Juice Plus. That's a problem, right? So what you just shared with, I didn't really put it together. The reason why they do characters or mascots is the mascot's not going to be up for murder. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Could have been a wild night, but that makes sense. I never really put that together as to why they do the mascot. It's easy to remember, but that thing can never get in trouble. Super interesting. What should a person do right now to no matter where they're at to start on that journey?
Video marketing. The number one thing that you can do right now to start building that personal brand is video marketing. People do business with people they know. You guys know this, know, trust, and like. And when I mean like, I don't mean they like you like, oh, dude, you're such a nice guy. I mean like as in similarity. So this is the fastest way that you can build rapport with people. Video marketing, go out there, get very loud about everything that you're doing. And I'm not asking you to go out there and create content if you're in the sales industry, like real estate, for example, or solar. I'm asking you to document what you already do. So you are, I tell my team this, you are the content. Your stuff that you do every single day, you are the content. Just pull your phone out, document what you're doing, and tell a freaking story, man. Facts tell, stories sell. Hey guys, I'm out here today. This is what happened, and document what you got going on, and you'll see how quickly people begin to respond to that.
The recap, guys, video marketing is king. Do something and then tell people what you just did. That you may have simplified video marketing better than anybody I've ever heard simplify it. Because what I teach is like, oh, we'll create 10 topics. And I'm like, do something and tell people what you just did. That's it. Hey guys, I just walked out of this customer's house and the customer said to me this, I answered this, maybe it helps. You might be talking to a customer. You might be talking to another sales rep. You may be talking to somebody you're trying to recruit. Who knows? But great suggestion. Do something and then just tell people on camera what you just did. Last question, Nick, hit me.
Yeah, Nick, on that point right there, really fast, if you guys need an example of doing something and telling people what you did, go to my stories. Just last night, I did something, and then I told people what I did, and because of that, I already have a couple of inquiries from people who are looking to partner up with me on the real estate aspects of the side. So go to my stories, prime example. All right.
At Gabe Mendez, correct? I just threw it up on our thing. Just at Gabe Mendez?
At Gabe Mendez. That's it.
Done.
By the way,
okay.
Man, I had to pay a lot of money to get that handle.
I only had to send like $500 in supplements. Nick Sarnicola in Brooklyn didn't care so much about giving me Nick Sarnicola.
Oh, dude, I spent $7,500 to get my name.
Oh,
yeah. I started at 1,000. The guy didn't want to give it to me. I'm like, bro, find a lot for $7,500. I'm walking away. I'll take my underscore. He's like, fine.
You should have just been the Gabe Mendez, official Gabe Mendez. All right, back to you.
Yeah, all right, man. Back up to you, Nick. Okay, so Nick, last question I wanted to ask. Where's my phone at, man? I forgot the last question. Give me 1 sec. I wrote it down for you.
Guys, while you're out there, tell us the number one thing you learned in the comments. Drop in the comments. Number one thing I learned is blank. Or if you want to add to the conversation, what tip do you have about video marketing? What's important to you about building a personal brand? Hit me.
All right, Nick. Last question I wanted to ask you was about, you kind of touched in on it a little bit, but the people that you look to partner up with, what 3 qualities or traits do you look for in a person when you either A, bring them into your company as an agent, as a sales rep, or B, to partner up with you looking like, hey, we're going on this endeavor together. What are those top 3 qualities or traits in a person that you're looking for? And for everyone who's out there, if you're hiring, if you're recruiting, this is the man. I want to hear what Nick has to say.
So this has changed over the years. It's changed. So I'm going to go with hiring because everybody who's in my team knows the Catalyst 7 and they know they're in order. And when I'm interviewing someone, when I'm asking about their story, I'm digging deep to try to find these 7 and to see how they value these 7. So number 1 for me is growth mindset. If a person is not attending events, reading books, having mentors, listening to podcasts, then I can't work with you because you might be the most successful person on the team coming into it. But if you already know everything and you don't have a desire to get better and you don't have a desire to grow, that means we can't teach you anything. You're not going to change. You're going to be very rigid in your thought process. So growth mindset is number 1. Number 2 is social impact. And this was nowhere on the top 10 radar years ago. Here's what I found about people that have a growth mindset and engage in social impact. This means they're going to keep getting better and they have huge hearts of contribution. Now, I got to put a little asterisk next to this and share, I'm a sales accelerator, so I already know everybody's great at sales, right? So there's it's like before they even show up, I already know you can sell. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the conversation. So I think that might change a little bit for other roles, functions, or maybe what you're doing. So maybe I'll tell you the top 4, and then maybe you put social impact down to number 4. Number 3 is hunger. So great, you've been successful already, been successful before. Is that it? How far do you want to go? How much more do you want? How big do you want to go? What's inside of you? What's the ripple effect? What's the driver? And then number 4 is capacity. Capacity is talent and skill, right? So I'm going to give you those 4, and that's my order because the function of my business, I already know they have talent and skill to some degree, or they wouldn't be at the table. So in your scenario, not you, Gabe, but other folks, you might change that order to be like, all right, growth, hunger, skill, social impact. I'm telling you, add social impact really high to the list. If a person has never volunteered, they don't contribute any money back to society, they don't, walk past a homeless man and walk them in the store and buying some food. I'm not saying they're the wrong hire. I'm just saying there's a better one out there. Because if you got somebody that's driven through social impact and that's in their heart, you know who that person is. You know how that trickles through into the rest of their life. So I hope that helps.
Wow, Nick, that was the perfect, probably best way to end that. And my mind is blown right now. So I'm going to go back to the recording and take those 4.
Well, we're going to turn this into reels for you. All right. This is a closing thought. What is top 2 traits somebody must have if they're going to make it or win in anything, sales, entrepreneurship, or solopreneur? Top 2 traits. Closing thought.
Number 1 trait that I always believe in, and you already mentioned it, is hunger. You have to be starving at all times. If you want to make it in anything that you do, you have to have a starving drive behind you, empty belly mentality, and not enough mentality to go out there to want more. Otherwise, nothing's going to push you during those hard times. Not a why, not a hope, not a wish, nothing. You got to be hungry for it. And then number 2 is coachability. You got to be a student of the game always first. A student becomes a leader, a student becomes a teacher. But if you keep a student mentality first and you're studious, which means you learn, you apply, you're always going to grow. And with the hunger factor behind it, really nothing can stop you.
Brother, where can everyone find you?
At Gabe Mendez on Instagram, at Gabe Mendez on Facebook, and the Mendez Squad on YouTube. Go check us out, some of our pranks and videos that we do as a family.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you, man. I love talking to you always. I love the value exchange. I know we went long today, so thank you for that. Everybody, if you want to plug into a free community we have, I got catalystlaunch.com. It's a Telegram group. You can ask anything. There's no charge. Just get in there if you want. And you can find me at nickslinktree.com. It's got all my social, nickslinktree.com. And tell us what your number 1 key takeaway was. What's the number 1 thing you learned from this conversation today? Drop it in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, Jake Dixon, I see you. You're going to be on after your event. We're going to get you on here in the back half of August. I need you on one of the upcoming ones. Episode 14. That's a wrap. Thank you, Gabe Mendez. Let's roll.